My name is Josef Kubinec. I'm from INPROCAP project, and today I will be guided this very interesting webinar, I think, on very important topic, which is innovation partnership. So I will just make a short introduction in the beginning. Can you see the presentation now? Okay, great. So I will just welcome and tell you a little bit about our project, and then I will invite our dear speakers today to present this very interesting topic of innovation partnership. So all these webinars we are doing are within the project called INPROCAP. We are project financed by Horizon Europe, by European Commission, and we are building the specialist advisory services on innovative procurement among national industry liaison officers to big science organizations. Why we are doing that? We are doing that because innovation procurement, we believe, is underused mechanism in BSO value chain. We find out that also through different surveys and the work that we did, this desktop research. So we try to, by creating training manuals, delivering different trainings, try to work on this mechanism of innovation procurement to be used more in the big science sector. So we are involving three main stakeholders, what we call triple helix. So we have ILOs, we have big science organizations, but very importantly, we try to connect all of that also to the innovative companies, because without these innovative companies, there would be very little innovation, we believe. So here are our partners. So we have two BSO organizations. We have European Exfel, we have ICECAT, we have Pedal Consulting, which is not BSO organization, but is supporting this project by delivering different trainings. And then we have these four hubs. We have colleagues from Denmark, from Big Science, from DTI. We have colleagues from Spain, from South, from CDTI. They have good experience with different procedure, with pre-commercial procurement that we had the webinar before. We have colleagues also from Poland and Netherlands. So basically, after this short intro, it would be my pleasure to welcome Samira. She will talk about innovation partnership in public procurement, when to use it, how it works. She will give us some real important issues, different topics. I can explain about that later. After Samira, we have Philip from the Municipality of Amsterdam, and he will present their real experience with innovation partnership. After Philip, we have our colleague Peggy from European Exfel. She is also partner in this project INPROCAP, and she will share their example of using innovation partnership in big science organization sector. And then in the end, we will have time for maybe discussion and questions. But today we decided that we will allow also after each presentation at least 5 minutes for you to ask the questions. So we will have the recording, and it will be available, or participants will, after the webinar in a couple of days, receive a link to the recording. As Lucia already said, if you would like to ask the question, so during the presentation, just write that in the chat, or just wait after the end of presentation, and then you can raise your hand and ask the question directly to our today amazing speaker. So what is the objectives of today? We would like to present you the innovation partnership. So you understand the innovation partnership procedure, including whether it is suitable. Samira will compare this innovation partnership with pre-commercial procurement, but also with competitive dialogue. And I think this is a very good way how we can understand this procedure by comparing it with other procedures that we use. You will also learn how to design the innovation partnership. So what what is the scope, what are the different phases, how these phases are similar to the pre-commercial procurement or how they differ, if they are something else than to pre-commercial procurement. We will discuss also typical pitfalls, so requirements definition, negotiation, evaluation. I think the Philip will talk about it, and then we will learn from examples from big science sector from Peggy. So today I'm very glad that Samira accepted our invitation and that she will share some insights to the innovation partnership. She has many experience with that. Yes, so Samira, she is from Altai Consultancy. Her mission is to empower organizations to embrace sustainability and innovation by equipping them with the skills, strategies, and solutions to navigate the complexities of modern procurement practices. And me, as I am also a procurement, working in a procurement in 15 years, I absolutely understand there are many complexities to nowadays public procurement practices. So she has more than 15 years of experience. She had held influential roles that bridge policy and practice. For example, as director of public procurement for local authorities in France, head of legal affairs and innovation procurement for central purchasing body in the health sector, head of innovation and SME unit at the French State Procurement Directorate, and very importantly also policy officer for the innovation and sustainable public procurement at the European Commission at DG Grow. Then after Samira, we have Philippe Derat. Sorry, we have some noise from somebody, so ask you to mute yourself for now. So Philip have over 10 years of experience in public procurement, specializing in the design of complex tenders for the municipality of Amsterdam. And in fact, the example he will present is innovation partnership about the artificial turfs are from that region. So we are looking for that. His work involves leading different teams through our entire procurement cycle, from strategic planning and market consultation to contract award. In recent years, he focused strongly on innovation procurement using instruments such as innovation partnership procedure. He also played a central role in the pre-procurement phase of the future-proof sports field project, in which the municipality of Amsterdam, together with Haarlem and market parties, collaborated under the innovation partnership. And then, last but not least, we have, as I said, our dear colleague Peggy from European Exfel. She's a senior innovation procurement manager at the European, as I said, Exfel, with over 10 years of experience in the public procurement sector. She's a certified public procurement law manager, holds MBA with expertise in public procurement regulation, developing procedural manuals and standardizing best practices. And together with Peggy, we in fact work together on different manuals. And she will today not only present the examples of innovation partnership that the European Expo are doing right now, but she will briefly present also this manual of innovation partnerships. So after the webinar and in some time, we will finalize the innovation partnership manual that you can, for example, use in the future if you would like to do innovation partnership by yourself. So, and yeah, me, I will be moderating today. I'm Josef Kubinec from Kinovate. I have, as I said, some experience in public procurement for a couple of years. I'm doing this thing called innovation procurement. I'm a trainer in different projects, but really enjoying your work here in the INPROCAP project. So thank you very much. Now I give a floor to Samira. Samira, so please,
Hello.
if you can share the presentation with us.
Of course. Just 1 second, because we
of course.
It's not always intuitive. So share my screen, and I won't be able to see the questions in the chat. So I guess Joseph, you will just interrupt me. Any questions?
Of course, no. We will ask if there are any questions. We will give a floor to participants after your presentation, and we can see the presentation. Very good. Thank you.
Great. So good morning, everybody. I'm really glad to be here with you today, and especially to talk about the innovation partnership. I must say that there are not many webinars on this on this procedure. We talk a lot about PCPs and PPIs, which means like the competitive dialogue or any kind of a negotiate procedure, but we do not talk a lot about the innovation partnership. This is a great opportunity. So thank you, Joseph and INPROCAP team for inviting me. Today, I will try to cover, let's say, three key topic during my presentation. So really about when to use the innovation partnership, and also give you some insight on what is, let's say, the how to differentiate innovation partnership from PCP and competitive dialogue. And we will a little bit deep dive into how to design, let's say, the innovation partnership process. But first thing that might be of your interest, and you can find this information on the public buyers community platform. The European Commission is publishing each year a study on the innovation partnership, a little bit to measure the use of this procedure, if we can call it this way. It's more like, and you will understand my point, it's more a way to contract innovation with suppliers. But the idea is here to show you that it's not like the procedure which is mainly used by public buyers. And when we see the numbers, and if we measure from 2016 to 2023, I didn't manage to find, let's say, the study on 2024, we're on average of less than 200 contract awarded, which is not like the same number as the open procedure, or even if we compare to the competitive dialogue, for example. But still, it's interesting to see that it's taking off little by little. But what we can also let's say see behind those numbers is that, and if you download the study of the European Commission, it's the innovation partnership is used in all type of sectors. It's used in mobility, in health, in energy, in all type of sectors. And also what is behind this number is that it's not like only big buyers, like big public, let's say, owned companies, for example, who are also using the public procurement directives rules. It's all type of public organizations, and I mean, behind these numbers is also small cities, small hospitals who use this procedure, which means that it might look as a very complex procedure, but still, when there is a need, public organizations are using it. And I think this is very interesting, just to show before we start and deep dive into the procedure, that the innovation partnership procedure is that this procedure is taking off little by little, and we will also understand why public buyers are using it more and more. And you will have also a very interesting example from the city of Amsterdam, which will also showcase these numbers. But now let's deep dive into this topic of the innovation partnership with the first subtopic, when to use the innovation partnership. I think that you follow the different previous webinars, so I won't really take too much time on this slide, but that's true that let's say conventional procurement really fails to when it comes to innovation procurement. Why? Because innovation is a process itself. Like when you innovate, when you are developing something new, it's a process that needs to be managed. And with classical procurement, we can't, when we are buying solutions which are already available on the market, this type of procurement are not fitting well for the innovation process, meaning that here we are talking about new needs, which is called unmet needs and under the, let's say, procurement vocabulary, which means that what is available on the market as solution are not really fitting the new issues and the new problems that are let's say, new challenges of public organization. So it means that we are taking this uncertain pathway that needs to be managed, and needs to be managed not only for the R&D process, but also for the deployment process, which is this, let's say, plus step of the innovation partnership. And the innovation partnership is here really to bridge this gap between the innovation process, R&D and R&I, or R&D plus innovation process, and the deployment process, which means the actual purchase. So the innovation partnership is one procurement procedure which really combine research and innovation, R&D plus innovation process, and the procurement of the results of this process. So the innovation partnership is really designed for innovation. This is really the main difference with the competitive dialogue and other, let's say, procedure which are described in the Public Procurement Directive. And it's also the main difference with the PCP. Why? Because you have the procurement of the results of the, let's say, research and innovation process in one single contract. And this is really key to understand why you could choose the innovation partnership versus the PCP, or even the competitive dialogue. So here it's a screenshot of a guidance which was published also by the European Commission. It's a guidance on what type of procedure is fitting depending on the level of maturity of the solution you are buying. And here it's really describing, and it's like a summary of what it is written in the directive, is that the innovation partnership is really made to, let's say, purchase solutions, new product or new services, or even new works that will, let's say, fit new challenges and new needs for the public organization in one single contract. So just to summarize here, again, and it's really key for you here to understand that it's really about when you have no off-the-shelf solution which really are available on the market, you need R&D before deployment. So it's really about getting, and we will see in the innovation process, innovation partnership process itself also, that the deployment is key to be framed also in the negotiation and the contract implementation. But what it is for me here super key, more, I would say, to add on the deployment phase, is that when we talk about innovation partnership, we are also talking about creating a medium or long-term partnership with the supplier. So here it's again a difference with the PCP. It means that because you are going to work with the supplier on the deployment of your solution, it means that here you have to partner and to share the risk of failure, not only on the development of the solution, but also when it's going to be deployed. Because when it's going to be deployed in your organization, you will discover, I mean, in real and very concrete situation, the new challenges that might be not have been anticipated. So it's really important to understand that. Why I'm saying that is because during the negotiation phase, you are not only negotiating on the R&D phases, but also on the deployment phases. Because if you are interested, if the solution developed is really giving the outcomes you fixed in the contract, and you want to procure the solution, the deployment phase is key. And here, negotiating a partnership is really important. And I think that Philippe also will let's say explain you in the context of the city of Amsterdam how they also organize this partnership. So when it comes to the innovation partnership and how it works, so you have three, I would say, big phases. You have the selection phase, so you will organize a procedure to select a number of candidates with whom you are going to negotiate with each candidate a partnership. And when it is signed, then you are going to enter in the second phase, which is the phase of the development of the innovative solution. So we'll also go through these R&D phases and how they could be designed. And it's just examples, but you will see that we are here free to design this phase as we, let's say, need, which complies with your need. And at the end of each phase, you will have the possibility a little bit to adapt, of course, the execution of the R&D phase. And at the end of this phase, when you are finished with the development of the solution and the solution is really delivering the performance that you are seeking, then you are entering in the third phase, which is the commercial phase, which means the agreement on the procurement itself. So the procurement contract will be signed at this moment to then go for the deployment of the solution, meaning that the solution is implemented in your organization. And again, just to a little bit give more, let's say, details on how to compare with the PCP. A key line in this table is that, and this is written in the Public Procurement Directive, is that with the innovation partnership, you are really free to design the R&D phases as you want and really fitting your needs, meaning that depending on the level of TRL of the solution, which is still under development, you can use the innovation partnership to work only on the final stages of the development of the solution. And you are not really starting from the beginning of the R&D. You are really free to organize the R&D phases as you want. As in the PCP, there are three fixed phases, and they are described in the communication of the European Commission on the PCP. So it's really mandatory to follow those steps and really to design the contract following the three fixed phase. And I think that for me, the innovation partnership really, let's say, offer this flexibility to design the R&D phases really to fit your needs as you want. And of course, one key element which are differentiating the PCP from the innovation partnership or even other PPI procedures such as the competitive dialogue is that you can procure the results of the R&D in the same contract. We'll have also I will present quickly some elements regarding the IP, because here also it's really key, the difference between in the innovation partnership, where really you can negotiate the IP as you wish, whereas in the PCP it's mandatory really to get the known exclusivity license in how it is described again in the communication of the Commission on this procedure. So here I have prepared these slides a little bit to explain how it could be, let's say, developed. But you will see with the case of the city of Amsterdam that it's not these all phases, these three main phases of the R&D that can be chosen. You can adapt it and for example really focus on the prototype and the pilot as even one phase of your project, but here I really wanted to showcase that of course you can also decide to use the phases how they are described in the PCP. Why? Because the main difference, again, I'm coming back to my first point, is that in the innovation partnership, you have the deployment phase, and this deployment phase is really what making the difference between the PCP and the innovation partnership. Meaning that in the innovation partnership, you can have phase, let's say, one. Prototype, a pilot, and phase two you have a focus on how to prepare the deployment of your solution and of the solution developed, but also how to start discussing the procurement elements to prepare the purchase of the solution. And then you have when you are purchasing the solution, then you deploy the solution. So you can play with these different phases, and of course, for example, of one of the innovation partnership I participated in, it was in the health sector. The objective of this innovation partnership was to develop a medical device in order to measure the sugar rate in the blood of teenagers and how to monitor this. And the focus of the prototype and I would say even the focus on the research was not on the technology itself, because it was more or less not mature, but it was something which was not the main point of the project. The main point of the project was the deployment. Why? Because the population that we're working with were teenagers. And here, even during the negotiation, we discussed a lot on this deployment readiness phases, because we wanted to make sure that the suppliers understood how to work with teenagers to make sure that if we buy the solution and then we implemented it, it will be a success. So I'm just coming back to this design phase of the innovation partnership. It's really important to, let's say, understand where are, let's say, the key points of the project. So not only to design the right phases, but during the negotiation to really negotiate the key points of each phases. And in my example, the deployment readiness phase for us was the main one, as the, let's say, maybe prototype of the solution itself, just coming back to the technology point, was maybe less, let's say, important. So just if we come back to this comparison here, I wanted to have, I know it's a very busy slide, but the idea was really for you to have one slide where you can have this overview of PCP of one side, which will, let's say, stop with the last phase of the development. So we are not in this. We do not have this, let's say, deployment readiness phase. Compared to the different procedure that you could use at the competitive dialogue or even competitive procedure, which are really focused on the solutions are available on the market and they just need to be adapted to my context. Whereas the innovation partnership is really about having this two-in-one R&D plus procurement of the need. And here you have let's say a table summarizing a little bit my previous slide. Which is also about, let's say, comparing the PCP competitive dialogue and innovation partnership. But for you, just to understand that the innovation partnership is really about, and I think here I have another slide, just to understand that the innovation partnership is if you want to buy the innovative solution, you go for the innovation partnership. If you are in a situation where you want to more explore what the market could, let's say, offer as new possibilities, new technologies for your organization, then you go for the PCP. And I'm just, as I see the time is going a little bit quickly. So just to deep dive into the, let's say, the key elements of designing the innovation partnership. So again, I'm sure that you already have or followed the webinars on how to design the requirements. And in the guidance on innovation partnership, on the innovation procurement, you have a long section really on how to write the requirements. So try to work on let's say describing the requirements in a more functional way, to not describe the different, let's say, technologies, but more to work on outcome-based or, let's say, performance-based requirements. And really, and I think in the innovation partnership for me, it's what is key to describe what is the key issues, the key challenges, and the key problems you need are needed to be solved by the solution which you are going to buy. So really, it's about describing the problem, describing also the performance that is seeked. Of course, you are going also to have the possibility to negotiate with the suppliers each phase of the development of the solution. So the approach of the negotiation is really important, and during the market consultation phase, if you go for the innovation partnership, it's really important to discuss with the suppliers let's say the approach to the different phases of the innovation partnership. And as I said, especially focusing on the deployment. So do they have any experience, how they are working? I mean, do they have any experiences when working with public teams? How they are anticipating any issue in the implementation of the solution. So not only on the R&D phases, but also on how the solution will be implemented. And of course, discussing or really negotiating all the terms of the contract, and especially, and we will just I will show you some slides around this topic, especially on IPR. This is really important. So when it comes to IPR, IPR is a key topic of your contract, and you have to build a strategy on this. You have really to build your approach to intellectual property rights. For your information, in the guidance on innovation procurement, you have an annex, if I remember well, the Annex 2. It's a long annex of around 15 pages, which really describe all the elements of the IPR, and it's really let's say developed in a tool to prepare your IPR strategy and how you are going to negotiate it. So here you can have different models that you can really retain. Either you want to retain full IPR. I mean, of course, you have to maybe analyze why retaining full IPR is strategic for your organizations. But the problem is for the supplier that, I mean, that he might want less to invest, let's say, in continue maintaining this solution that was really developed for your problem. So it needs really to be assessed, but you have other models where you can also co-own or co-share some elements of IPR, or the model C of where you give the IPR to the suppliers, and here you are negotiating some, let's say, return on investment, because as you are giving the IPR to the company, you can also negotiate some return on investment if by giving the chance to the supplier to develop with you this innovative solution, and the commercialization phase for the company is successful, you can have a return on investment. So you have different schemes that can be used. They are not the only one, but here it's just to give you some examples. But if you retain one model versus another one, assess upfront why you want to go for this model, and what are the different, let's say, risks or advantages depending on your needs. And so just to close quickly, I wanted just to share with you some case study on successful innovation partnerships that also received European Innovation Procurement Award. Just also to give you a sense of different type, let's say, of project, and different ways of approaching the innovation partnership. For example, for the case of Prague, here, if we focus, for example, on IPR, the city of Prague wanted really to own the IPR in the contract, and they have really negotiated this IPR with the suppliers. It was their strategy, whereas in other let's say examples here, it's here another case where a group of 8 cities decided to launch an innovation partnership, and here you can see that it's let's say a bigger scope with a group of suppliers and that won the contract. So here it's also to give you another example. Here it's a case that I followed when I was working for the European Commission, because we have launched this project with northern countries on emission-free construction, with also again different type of criteria that were used, and a description on the negotiation phase, on the different phases that were negotiated. And here, just I'm sorry, I'm going a little bit fast because I see that I already have taken all the time I had. Some key takeaways just to summarize some elements of the points that I raised, and that's it. I'm very sorry. I went very fast on the last slide because I had just 2 minutes, and I know that the other speakers also have some interesting presentation on this. I'm very sorry.
No problem, Samira. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. I would still give time to participants. If you would like to ask a question, feel free now to raise your hand, and I will check the chat if we have any questions. We have a question from Esther. What can the big science facilities learn from the cities that do innovation partnership? They have different types of challenges.
Yeah, I think, I mean, also, I think Philip can also answer this question, but that's true that the challenges are different. But what you can learn really from them is how they really manage the procedure itself, the different phases, how they were designed, to get some inspiration. But for me, what is really important is how they, let's say, prepare the discussion also with the suppliers. What were the key elements they have negotiated in order to, this is the key point for the innovation partnership, is really to design a strong partnership, because during the implementation phase, and this is really important, that you work hand in hand with the supplier, and especially during the implementation phase. So I totally understand that you have different challenges. For example, hospitals also have different challenges from cities. But when it comes to get some learnings from how the procedure was managed, I think it's the same discussion that you can have.
Yeah, and thank you very much. And I think it was one of the last examples you showed about the emission-free construction sites.
Yes.
And the construction sites for big science organizations, if you have a new facility, this is very important, I think. Building the huge infrastructure projects like, for example, ESS, right, in Lund, or now we are discussing the Einstein telescope. It will be massive. So the sustainability and emission-free and these considerations need to be taken, I think, into consideration, for example, in big science sector. One more question. Does innovation partnership contribute to the grow the innovation ecosystem of startups and scale-ups? Yeah, if you compare it with the PCP, for example, right?
Yeah, if we compare with the PCP, and if you talk to the different companies, they'd rather to go for an innovation partnership because they have first the procurement contract, which give them, let's say, at least a number of years of partnering with public organizations. So for them, it's a way also to attract investors, for example, or at least to have a better discussion with their banks, and if they need loans, for example. So versus the PCP is supporting, let's say, startups and even SMEs, maybe to fine-tune some future solutions, but they are still far from reaching the market. Whereas in the innovation partnership, you are supporting not only companies to reach out the market, but also to have this first, let's say, procurement contract for them. So yeah, for me, definitely the innovation partnership is really contributing to the growth of companies directly, I would say.
Yeah, thank you very much. Antonio, you have a question.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. It was really an overview, also a comparison with the other procedures. I'm from European XFL. My question is, in your opinion, why Horizon is really promoting PCP? Because of
yes.
PCP, because in the call it suggested it's some point more if from PCP, but not innovation partnership that actually could be also fitting really a grant.
Yes, that's a good question. The thing is that if we come back, let's say in 15 years back, the Commission started to really promote the PCP as a real mean to support the growth of innovative companies by using the public demand. But when the 2014 directive was, let's say, discussed, the PCP, one of the, let's say, weak point of the PCP was this, especially for companies, but also for public organizations, that they need to launch a PPI after a PCP. And sometimes you do not have enough results to launch the PPI, right? And so, unfortunately, the Horizon Europe is really built really around this, let's say, dichotomy of having PCP and PPI on the other side. So the thing is that the PCP is still, let's say, the main procedure that the Commission use in order to stimulate innovation. And this is the focus of the European Commission, is really to stimulate the innovation more than really to get the, let's say, the procurement of the results as a key, let's say, outcomes of the innovation procurement. I'm not now in the discussion around if for the future work program they will integrate the innovation partnership more than it is now. But that's true that the innovation partnership didn't really benefit from a great communication as a way to bridge this gap between the R&D phases and the real procurement, like you really procure, not only procure the results, but implementing the results. So it's not just about really just procuring, it's also creating this partnership and more long-term partnership with the different companies.
So thank you, Samira. Thank you. I know it's not easy question, and I'm happy that we have a brave Antonio who asked the question. But I think this is also good floor. I mean, we had the presentation about the PCP before the webinar. Now we have an innovative partnership, and I think it's very important to clearly discuss also this question. So let's have one more question, then we move to Philip, because I'm sure he's really anxious to share his insights into innovation partnerships. So, Rodia, feel free. You are muted, sorry.
Good morning. Samira, thanks a lot for this presentation. Regarding the discussion of PCP, PPI, innovation partnership, etc., I think a lot of us are trying to handle these differences daily on our line of work. But I think we're not comparing here procedures, we rather compare strategies. Innovation partnership is a strategy, just like PCP and PPI is a strategy with their pros and cons. For example, I think PCP and PPI came to counterbalance the risks inherent to the innovation partnership. As you say, it has to go all the way to deployment. So we have a long-term partnership that might work or might not, during which we don't always have leverage, because at that stage we have a partner, we want to make it work. Whereas PCP and PPI, especially when we want to create a broader market basis, is what actually de-risks this part. So I think it's more a question of what is more appropriate to each case rather than what is better. These are strategies that we need to select based on our particular situation, I think.
I fully agree with you. For me, you have a portfolio of options. And this is why in one slide I put like, if you want just to explore and to see maybe later you are going to buy the solution and you want to assess, let's say, the situation, etc. Yeah, go first for PCP and then see if you will go for PPI. If it's your strategy, you have also to prepare the PCP in a way that you are not blocked for the PPI, right? But if you are already, and it's in your strategy, you have this need and you want this innovative solution to be deployed, so you want to procure it, go for the innovation partnership. But here it's having the full, let's say, landscape of the options, and of course all the preparatory work you will do to really fine-tune your strategy is just to keep in mind that you can use the innovation partnership. And often, I think it's not about saying that the innovation partnership is better than other procedure, is that we just forget about this procedure. It's not, again, in the landscape of all public buyers, even if it's, let's say, going better and better. I hope I answer your remark.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think very interesting conversation, discussion. Now we move to our next presenter. Philip, feel free to share your presentation and tell us about this practical experience you have with the Innovation Partnership.
Morning.
Morning.
You can hear me all right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Philip. I'm a senior procurement advisor at the engineering department of the City of Amsterdam. And I'm going to take you through how we designed an innovation partnership for artificial turf. This was a procurement procedure for something that at the time of publication did not yet fully exist. And regarding the question that just was asked, yeah, artificial turf, sports fields, that's not very relevant for your organizations, the subject. But I think the questions we encountered, like how do you ask the market to develop something, and how do you design an R&D phase together, and a long-term collaboration with innovating partners, I think they are just as relevant for your organization as they were for ours. So I hope I can give you a good example how to think about these questions. Well, I've already had a nice introduction from Joseph, so I think I can skip this part. The good to know is that this innovation partnership for artificial turf has been the most substantial part of my work for the last couple of years. I designed and managed the innovation tender process from start to finish, and the finish was for me the contract execution. So this is the part I'm speaking from today. Next slide, but it doesn't go. All right. So my content for today is around 3 blocks. First, I will talk a little bit about the project trigger and preparation. I will try to keep this part short because, well, I have only 20 minutes. And the second part is the most important for today, the tender itself. How did we structure the innovation partnership, the selection and awards criteria. This is the most interesting part for today. And a short lessons learned. What should you take away if you're considering also an innovation partnership? This is the end of my presentation. So I can talk about this project for hours. There's a lot of information about the procedure I can't tell today, but I will ask Joseph to share some documentation and also this presentation so you can understand the bigger picture. And I also added some extra slides about the innovations that are being built right now. So this will be shared with you after today. So now let me start at the beginning, the project trigger and preparation. So Amsterdam is a big city. There's a growing demand for artificial turf. There's a growing number of football players, hockey players, and we don't have enough space for natural grass in this urban environment where the space is very limited. So artificial turf can deliver more playing hours per pitch. One artificial turf field can replace 4 natural grass fields when you take the playing hours in consideration. So replacing natural grass in this way can create space for housing projects or other public services. And when you look at this picture behind on the presentation, you can see the Zuidas. This is our central business district, and it's one of the most expensive real estate places in the country. So here, a local football club replaced 6 natural grass pitches with 3 artificial turf fields, and they still have the same playing capacity. And the space that was freed up was used for the apartment buildings you see in this picture. So it's just not about artificial turf. It's also about urban planning and using space optimal in dense city environments. Unfortunately, artificial turf has a lot of negative implications and a lot of problems. For instance, they use rubber infill granules. This was a standard for years, and now there's a new European regulations which bans these rubber granules. And also the pitches contribute to heat stress. When you have a natural field, it stays cool. If you ever played on an artificial turf field, you know how hot it can be in summer. The temperatures of the surface can exceed 50 degrees Celsius. And also, of course, they produce waste at the end of life, which you see in this picture behind. And they are rarely designed as climate adaptive infrastructure or circular materials. But what we saw in the market was, for years, they have been delivering the same old products. The tenders were always the same in the Netherlands. There was just field by field procurement, and the procedure was always on the lowest price. So because everyone asked the same question, there was no innovation in the market. Within our city, we wanted to break that pattern and do something differently. So what did we try to do? We saw challenges more as opportunities. On here you see a map. You can see the heat stress of the artificial turf fields on the map. So we made an opportunity scan, an analysis of every pitch in Amsterdam, where we looked at heat, water management, soil subsidence, and energy. So because we did this analysis, we really had insight in the problems we had to overcome together with the market. At the same time, we also saw a lot of innovations in the market. There were artificial turf fields that could store rainwater, that could generate energy, but they were all kept in the pilot phase. There was just one field a year that did something innovative, and then the year after, nobody asked the same question, and you saw it die down again. So all these innovations were kept down in the pilot phase. And this was also a big problem because we wanted to change the market to make them more sustainable. So this all led to the beginning of our innovation partnership, and we started involving the markets. So how did we do that? I will just do this real quick because I think you already had a webinar about this subject. But we started with a market analysis. We also had a matchmaking event. This was a big event where we mixed parties from different parts of the ecosystem. These were not just turf specialists, but also technology companies, energy firms, startups, even some financial sectors were there. This event even led to something really cool. Some of the collaborations that eventually submitted the final tender were started during this event. So in the end, this was quite a successful strategy. Also, we had market consultations, just one-on-one conversations with a lot of market companies. And just before the publication, we also had some webinars where we live streamed where we explained what was coming and how interested parties should be preparing for the innovation partnership that we were about to publish. So now let's go to the tender. And this is, of course, where it gets interesting. An innovation partnership is very different from a standard procurement procedure. You need to design a process, like Samira just told, where you can create space for the market to show what is possible and find place for the R&D process in this project. And of course, select the partners that will be the best for your that can solve your problems. So now, how did we do this? We call it the scale-up method. This is 5 principles that shaped how we designed this procurement procedure. The first one is link testing to procurement. We didn't want to let the market develop in a lab and then pitch a finished project. We want to develop together with them within this procurement procedure in the innovation partnership with real locations and real users where we can monitor and test the results together with the selected market parties. And of course, also the end users, the football or hockey players that will have a big role in testing the solutions. The second one for us was an important one, bundle buying power. We combined the full replacement programs of Amsterdam and Haarlem over 10 years. So in total, this were more than 200 artificial turf pitches, and this was a single market opportunity. The maximum contract value is around 170 million euros, and this kind of skill and buying power changes the conversation with the market in a positive way. They, of course, this makes it so interesting for them to apply and invest in your procedure because you have created this buying power. 3, the multiple partners. We did not pick one winner. We selected 3 consortia to develop innovations in the R&D phase. Yeah, like the saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This creates, of course, a diversity of solutions, but also competition between the 3 consortia. So they keep performing and try to improve the solutions throughout the total process. So even in 4 or 5 years, there will still be competition between these 3. 4, active knowledge partners. From the start, we involved universities, research institutes, competence centers, not just as observers, but as contributors who also help validate results and define the most important challenges. And the 5th one is high focus, high urgency. We really committed to this scale from day one. This is not just a pilot. This is a program with a long timeline, big financial volume, and a commitment from Amsterdam, Haarlem to roll out what works. So all these 5 points, this is what was like the foundation of our innovation partnership. So now to the, I think can I go? No, well, I will try to explain this. This is the full project overview, left to right. You see preparation, tender. I will try to minimize this. Yes, okay. I could spend an hour walking through this diagram, but I will keep it brief. Take you from left to right. Preparation, I've already touched. This took us roughly 1 or 2 years, just the preparation phase. Then to the tender phase, this started with the selection. We shortlisted 5 parties based on their vision on innovation and organizational capability. I will come back to that later. With those 5, we entered the award phase, where we had a dialogue about their proposed innovative solutions. And based on that process, after the tender, we selected the 3 best consortia to enter the R&D phase. So in the R&D phase, this is an important choice that we made. We had 2 tracks. Track 1 is where the innovation really happens. So each consortium starts by building a prototype. This is a half training pitch in a real environment outside. And those prototype fields are being constructed right now, 2 in Amsterdam and 1 in Haarlem. And if they are successful, they will go on, all the 3 consortia, to the pilot phase, where they will build a full professional pitch, which will be played regularly all year with the innovative solution installed. And what you see below track 1 is track 2. This runs in parallel with track 1. So while the innovation work is happening, the municipalities do not stop replacing fields. So what we chose is to continue these regular field replacements under the same partnership framework agreement. This is not the track 2 is not innovation focused, but they're just a regular field replacements. Why did we choose this? The free consortia get operational experience with us, with our teams, but also income revenue before the innovations from track 1 are fully proven. So we hope by combining these two tracks that the revenue they generate in track 2 can flow back to the track 1. So after the R&D phase, if all the three are successful, we can go to the commercial phase where we can buy the innovative solutions on a bigger scale. And we continue also with the standard artificial turf pitches. Not every artificial turf pitch has to be top of the line. We will always have need for just the standard pitches, but then we want the best in the market. So this is in a really quick way our total project, but I will go a little bit deeper in some of the subjects. If I can go to the next one. Yes, so what did we seek in the right partners? We defined 4 mainly sustainability ambitions that the market had to address. The first one was smart and clean building sites, reduction of emission during constructions. The second one was circularity, meaning that the materials can be recovered, reused, or recycled at the end of life. Energy, which means that the field itself can contribute to energy generation. For instance, we have some pilots now that generate heat, and by creating below the surface water pipes, they can generate warm water, which can be used for the showers in the buildings next door, or even heating in nearby apartment buildings. And the last one is climate adaptive, meaning that the field surface can respond to rainwater, heat, reduce heat stress. So, for instance, we have one consortia that catches rainwater, creates a storage facility, and when it gets hot, it releases the water back, so it evaporates and cools down the field. So there are some really cool innovations that are being built right now. Underlying these 4 ambitions are the preconditions. The solutions that they are offering must be feasible, that they are technically, operationally, and fit in the rules and regulations of the sports federations. They must be affordable. They have to fit within the budget structures of our municipalities and the total life cycle of the field. And they must be also scalable. This means that the innovations can be scaled production-wise, but also to other procurers in the Netherlands, and possibly Europe and even the world. So they had to prove to us that there's a broader market for the innovations they were proposing. So all these preconditions are also the foundation of the awards criteria, which I will come back to later. But first was the selection phase. So this was the first threshold where we went from, we wanted to select the 5 best parties for the next phase. There were 2 selection criteria. The first one was innovation capacity. So this looked at a couple of things. So how did they understand our challenge? What was their ability to develop, test, and scale innovations? What were their previous successes? And the second one was organizational capacity. This was regarding coordination, experience with large-scale programs. How is your team organized? What is your project management capacity? So let me explain real quick how the evaluation worked in practice. So they all submitted a vision document of a maximum 4 pages. where they addressed the innovation capacity and the organizational capacity criteria. And we then evaluated by an evaluation committee. This was a mix of internal sustainability experts, technical specialists, and even advisors with experience in artificial turf. So they all scored individually, just with the score, and the scores were then discussed and consolidated in consensus. We also had a 30-minute presentation by the tenderers where they can clarify the vision document. And in the end, this was the evaluation process we chose. So this was purely based on the quality of the vision documents. And then we can go to the next phase, I think. Yeah. So this is what Samira just talked about, where the innovation partnership is really, it really distinguishes itself from a standard tender, because you're free to choose how to create this process to match your needs and your problems. And this is also because when you look at the EU regulations, the innovation partnership gives you freedom to design your own process. There are no specific requirements. Of course there are, but they are limited. You can choose, for instance, just one dialogue meeting. You can choose 5. You can define the award criteria yourself. You can also decide what documents they have to submit at each stage, what format. It can be a written document, can be presentations, even workshops, whatever fits your project and your challenge. And I think you really should use that freedom to match your specific needs. And of course, the market wishes that you already decided at the start of the phase. But for us, this was our process. We started with a kickoff meeting, and after that, all of the tenderers submitted a first initial tender. And we evaluated this document and then had a meeting. Then they went to the second tender, improved based on the dialogue we organized, and then we evaluated again, another dialogue, and then was the request for the definitive tender, being the final submission. So this back and forth of the submission, dialogue, and our feedback is not really a negotiation in a traditional sense, but we were actually helping the market parties to understand what we were looking for. We had to challenge their assumptions and give them the opportunity to sharpen their proposals to match our needs. And what was really cool to see in this procedure was that you saw the quality of the submissions went really way better than we expected. The first submission was not, there was a mismatch between what we wanted and what they were thinking they had to offer. But in the end, we had really good submissions. So in my view, these meetings can really help the tenderers to understand what we were looking for. I think I can go to the next slide, or maybe one thing to address. So after this award phase, we contracted the first to 3 ranking for the R&D phase, but we also chose a reserve agreement. This is different from the rank 1 to 3. This rank 4 was not awarded an R&D contract, but we did sign a reserve agreement with them, and this means that if one of the 3 active consortia drops out during the R&D phase, for whatever reason, if they choose to step out of the project, or if they fail to deliver what they promised, and we have to terminate the contract, this reserve party can step in and take their place. It's a sort of how do you call it, an insurance mechanism. So it keeps the competition alive and protects our continuity, so that we during the R&D phase we can continue with 3 market parties. Okay, let me see how I'm on the time. I think I have a couple of minutes left. The award criteria, we used 4. The first one was the innovative solutions. So what were they proposing? The second one was scalability. How can you scale your solutions, not just for us, but for the Netherlands, even maybe in Europe? C is affordability. Do they match our budgets? And the last one was the concrete offer for the prototype and pilot. So what do you want to build? How ambitious was your plan? And do you have a realistic timeline and budget? In the sheets that are shared, you can dive deeper in these criteria to read what we did. So let me almost close. I have 2 more sheets, I think. What does it mean for you? Yeah, the legal basis, it's there. Samira just explained a lot about this. It's been there since 2016, I believe. And even for those outside, working outside the EU frameworks, I think some of you work outside of the framework. The name may differ, but most procurement frameworks have a mechanism for this innovation procurement. So you can still learn from this procedure and yeah, get some inspiration. If you want to scale up and change the market, what we try to do, then we think that skill is your asset. So what you can maybe try to do within the INPROCAP network is learn from each other, experience. And if you're a smaller contracting authority and you really want to scale up some innovations that you see don't get out of the pilot phase, maybe you can work together, partners in your own country, just like we did with Haarlem, and to create more skill and buying power for the market parties. And the third one, start with the problem and not the solution. So what challenge requires something that the market hasn't built yet? That's where this model belongs. And then, of course, you can invite the market to solve it with you. So one more sheet is the lessons learned. I will also share a document that goes real deep into the lessons we learned, even on details of the procedure. But what's good to start with today, end with today, is the important preconditions. We think there are 5. The first one is urgency to do things different. If your organization does not feel a sense of urgency, this innovation partnership might not survive contact with the first, obstacle. You need urgency to keep people at the table when it gets difficult. So this is one of the most important preconditions next to support from your management and directors. We had a lot of support and we put a lot of time within our internal stakeholders to get support from our directors and management. If you want innovation procurement, it takes longer than conventional procurement. It's time consuming, could be costly if you choose a big timeline, of course. So without commitment from leadership, you might get internal resistance before you can deliver results. So this is also important to realize before you start a procedure like this. Yeah, of course, you need to explain the clear direction, the third one. What is the goal you want to achieve? You have to explain it intern to your organization, but also externally to the market. You need to have a story that people can relate to and understand, so they want to join your innovation partnership. The fourth, sorry, is that the market is ready. And they have to support this way of procurement. They have to invest in your procedure. So you need the market consultations open, enough time for the market to engage. In our innovation partnership, all the market parties were ready to go when we published the tender. They already formed collaborations. They knew what our goals were. If we chose to publish out of the blue without consulting the market, I think we would have failed completely because, it would have been the biggest surprise, and they didn't know how to handle this in a short time frame. And the last one, I already spoke about this. So to scale and continuity. If you offer enough volume to make the investment, then the market will be ready to invest in your procedure. This is the last one. And if you can't do it alone, you can always work together with other authorities. And if this is also, you can discuss with the market, what is the skill they need to invest in your procedure. So this was my presentation. I think I have to wrap it up. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email. We have a LinkedIn page, newsletter, where you can subscribe. And if anyone is in June in Amsterdam or Haarlem, we have some demo days on June 10th and 17th in Haarlem, where the prototypes are being showed. So if anyone is by coincidence in the country, then let me know. Then you can join us in this demo meeting. So yeah, I think that's for now enough. I hope I didn't take too much time.
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Philippe.
You're
Let's have a look at the chat if there are any questions. So there is one. Thank you for a great presentation. Could you please clarify how the selection criteria process was conducted? I noticed that you used a scoring system. What was the minimum score or percentage required for someone to be accepted? Very practical, very procurement direction question.
Yeah. We scored every plan from 1 to 5, like a report score, like you get in school. There was a minimum requirement of a 2.5 average about the two combined criteria. So if you scored below that, you didn't get an invitation for the next phase. But in the end, I think the average score was around 4.5. So they really, we gave a lot of high scores. Yes.
Thank you very much. I give a floor to participants if you would like to ask a question to Philippe. In meantime, I might ask again about the criteria, but now about the award criteria. So, have you considered the price of the solutions? Was that included in the percentage of business case, or how you did that? I'm asking because from the public procurement point of view, depending on the country, we see very often that some countries prefer just go for the lowest price, and you went the other direction. So
yeah, what we chose was a fixed price for the pilot and prototype, where we invested, I think, 70%, and we asked the market parties to invest like 30% of the cost as well. So they had to present their business case for these two fields. And in the commercial phase and track 2, where the regular fields are being built, we have an average field budget of 620,000 euros. This is just a fixed price, and we can share. For instance, if you have 10 fields, you have a budget for 6 million, and we can divide the budget between these fields. So you can have one field for 1 million, one field for 200,000. So this is how we manage the price. There was no hard price criteria in the tender. This was quite unique and maybe a risk, but we chose to work with a fixed price. Yes. I can go really deep in the price mechanism, but this will take 20 minutes to share. But this is the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have 2 questions. How was the intellectual property rights handled in this case?
I think it was from Samira's presentation, the middle option B. The IP stays with the innovator. The contractor retains full intellectual property rights over whatever they develop. We chose this by design. Our reason was, if you want the market to invest in innovation, to take a risk, you cannot take away the commercial upsides, at least not for this type of course, it can differ. I think with IT, it can be it's a really different approach. But because we gave them the IP, it makes also the investment more worthwhile. And there was also a second reason, what would we do with intellectual property rights over an artificial turf innovation? We can't build it, we can't sell it. There was no real sense for us to own this IP rights. Of course, every procurement is different, but it comes down to this. We had, of course, some contract clauses where we needed to use the results across our fields. They can't sell their IP to someone else without our how do you say it, approval. Of course, we had some of these clauses, but the main one is, yes, the IP stays with the contractors.
Okay, thank you. And the second one, how did you manage the costs? Were there cost overruns considering the medium tier level?
Yeah, I already explained the cost mechanism. How did we manage the cost? This is being, I am not actually involved in the building right now, so I have to, I can't really answer this question. I don't know if if the costs are overruns right now. I can't. I have to ask my colleagues that are actively involved with the building right now. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Again, thank you very much, Philip. Very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing your insights into the innovation partnership with us. I really like because, as I said before, together with Peggy, our next speaker, we are preparing a very hard working on this innovation partnership manual. And one of the discussion was, so okay, how many phases are there in an innovation partnership? How many sub-phases, for example, in R&D? Part are there, so I liked also very much that part, how you explained that. So thank you very much again. Now I give floor to Peggy. Peggy will share example of innovation partnership from their work at the European XFEL. Lucia, are you going to share the presentation for Peggy?
Thank you, Joseph. So good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining today's webinar. I apologize for the unclear camera quality. I hope my voice is clear enough to capture everyone's attention for the last presentation. So today I would like to share some practical insight on the use of innovation partnership in public procurement, particularly from the perspective of research and technology-driven procurements. I will first explain the legal procedure framework, then move into tender preparation, key contractual consideration, and some highlights on practical implementations aspects. And finally, some identified cases from XFEL. I will also briefly introduce an upcoming innovation partnership manual, as mentioned by Joseph, and mention our forthcoming academic publication on this topic. So let's begin with the legal framework and the choice of procurement procedures. An innovation partnership is governed by the General Public Procurement Ordinance, VGV, Vergabeordnung, specified under paragraph 19 for procurements above the EU threshold. For procurement below threshold, the sub-threshold regulation, UFO, does not regulate innovation partnership. However, in practice, the principle of innovation partnership established under the above threshold procurement regulations can still be applied as a guidance for below threshold procurements. So in many innovation-driven procurements, the most suitable procedures is the negotiated procedures, especially when the contract involves design activities, development work, or innovative technology solutions. So why is the negotiated procedure particularly suitable for this case? So first, it provides flexibility. Innovation projects rarely begin with the fully defined technical specification. Instead, the solutions often involves during discussions with the innovative technology providers and through iterative development phases. Second, the procedure allows negotiation with multiple bidders or innovative technology providers. This is extremely important because different innovative technology providers may propose very different technology approaches to solving the same problem. Third, the contracting authority has the possibility to terminate a development phase if the results are unsatisfactory or if the proposed solutions proves technical unfeasible. And finally, the procedures may include the option to purchase the final developed products or solutions after the successful completion of R&D phase. So the combination of flexibility, risk management, and the phase development makes the procedures highly suitable for innovation procurement. So on the tender preparation, when preparing a tender for innovation partnership, one of the most important steps is to clearly define the innovation needs and objectives. The contracting authority must document what problem needs to be solved, why existing commercial solutions are insufficient, and why innovative development is necessary. The tender documentation should demonstrate evidence that the procurement truly requires innovative development. On procurement strategy, so this is a multi-phase approach, including both development stages and commercial phase to purchase the end product or end solutions with the clearly defined milestones and performance targets. So innovation partnership shall be structured in two phases. The first one is R&D, for example, production of prototypes or development of the service. The second one is the performance phase, the service resulting from the partnership. So each phase should have the measurable deliverables and acceptance criteria, enabling the continuous assessment of feasibility and the progress. This allows contracting authorities to stop unsuccessful projects early, reducing risk, and while giving the innovative technology providers structured feedback and clear expectation throughout the process. Another critical aspect is the funding structure. So the funding cap for each phase, for each bidder should be clearly defined in the tender document. The acceptance criteria for releasing funding should also be transparent and linked to the measurable deliverables or milestone achievements. And the budget calculation should consider the best case scenario, where maximum number of selected bidders persist through all development phases. So this is particularly relevant in innovation partnership because multiple innovative technology providers may continue in parallel during early development stage before the number of bidders is gradually reduced. And the selection and award criteria must be clearly defined to progressively reduce the number of bidders through the phases and identify the most feasible solutions. The maximum number of bidders to be selected on each phase should be defined clearly. Next slide, please. When planning the tender timeline, sufficient time must be allocated for evaluating deliverables and providing feedback, as this is often underestimated. After each deliverable submission, the contracting authority needs time to assess deliverables technically, provide structured feedback, and conduct negotiations when necessary. So with all bidders submitting deliverables within the same phase and time frame. So this also requires proper resources planning and allocation by the contracting authority. It is also very important to define if more than one partner can involve in the code development on each phase, or if single or multiple solutions may be awarded at the final stage. So for tender document and process, functional and performance-based specification are required rather than the detailed technical specification. This allows the contracting authority to refine and adapt the specification based on the result of each phase. The measurable selection criteria and award criteria for R&D and subsequent procurement phase needs to be clearly defined. Intellectual property rights, confidentiality obligations, and data protection requirements should be considered in the tender. IP rights is particularly important in the innovation procurement because newly developed technologies, software, or design may emerge during the projects. The tender should be clearly defined the ownership rights, usage rights, license arrangements, and also commercialization possibilities. The tender document should also include clauses allowing the contracting authority to terminate a phase, modify a phase, skip the phases entirely if the achieved result do not meet expectations. So this flexibility is essential for managing technological uncertainty. And the tender document should also include predefined priority parameters to determine the final scoring ranking, where identical evaluation scores occur, and the number of quality bidders exceeds the predefined maximum. The procedure should also allow the unlimited number of companies to participate through the call for tender. Contract notice should be published at least 30 days. After evaluation request to participate, the contracting authority may limit the number of suitable candidates invited to tender with a minimum number of 3 bidders. Innovation partnership also allows the negotiation through the whole procedure. However, certain elements must not be negotiated, including the minimum requirements stated on the specification, the selection and award criteria, and also the core innovation needs and objectives defined in the procurement documents. So these ensure the truly competition throughout the process while maintaining the manageable procurement complexity. So at European Excel, that several projects has been demonstrated where innovation partnerships provide significant value. For below threshold procurements, innovation partnerships are especially useful where R&D costs outweigh the low value of the final products. In such cases, the partnership model enables risk sharing between the contracting authority and also the innovative technology providers. The focus shift from the simply purchasing a product to jointly developing a technical feasible solution. Another advantage is access to highly specific emerging innovative technology providers, which may not be visible in the standard market. The co-development approach also creates deeper technical understanding between the contracting authority and the innovative technology providers, and allow the low cost production after the successful development. For above threshold procurement, innovation partnerships are variable when no commercial solutions exist, technical specifications are unprecedented, the requirement technology is beyond current market capabilities. So in this situation, the co-development enables both the contracting authority and the innovative technology providers to gradually shape the realistic technical solutions, turning the unmet needs into the feasible solutions. The iterative approach allows specification to evolve according to the actual technical limitation discovered during the development. This helps identify technical constraints earlier, reduces the risk of investing heavily in the solutions that later prove impossible or excessively expensive to implement. So in many cases, the process also contributes to long-term market development by expanding the future supplier ecosystem. Next slide, please. So I would like to briefly introduce the innovation partnership menu here, which is planned publication shortly. The intention is to provide a practical guidelines for big science organization considering the innovative partnership procurement procedures. The menus includes a practical workflow explaining when innovation partnership are appropriate or shall apply. Next slide, please. The overall innovation partnership flowchart stating as the procedural guidelines from preparation to contract award. Next slide, please. So also role-specific process overview for requester, for procurement officer, and also legal experts. Next slide, please. Practical checklist, the requester, for procurement expert from preparation of the tender till the award of tender. And finally, the useful frequent asked questions addressing various implementation special scenarios. So finally, I would like to mention that a paper, Innovation Procurement in Big Science Organization, highlighting legal frameworks and enable conditions will be published in the European of Public Procurement Markets this month. So I would like to thank the co-authors, Antonio Bonici, Dirk Jordan, and also Joseph for the valuable collaboration here. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Very interesting, and by this presentation, I think, clearly showed the innovation partnership can be used also in big science sector. I give a floor to participants if they would like to ask a question to you. Before that, maybe I have one question. How was because we discussed it today quite widely, how the intellectual property rights were considered in your cases of innovation partnership? So do they stay with the suppliers, or is there like co-ownership, or can you explain on that?
Maybe I can explain one of the about threshold case. So we have several discussion on the ownership rights and the usage rights and also the licensing arrangement. So for one of the cases that we consider that we should have the ownership right, the other one we would like to have the usage right. It depends on the projects.
Okay, thank you. Antonio.
Yes, mainly I can add something because we have also to hold the confidentiality of because this was published and they are going on, so we cannot say too much about this IP in details. This is why Peggy was giving a general approach. But please consider that the copyright, for instance, remains who did the drawings, and then this also intellectual properties. And mainly at the end, as deliverable of the development, there are also drawings. In this case, the copyright remains in the hands of the who did the technical drawing, as always. This one we can share. It's a general approach. Other things, as the nice presentation on Samira, so it's discussed case by case and can be negotiated.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And maybe after your innovation partnership like concludes, then we will be able to share the results. Okay. Yes. So we have a question from Esther. When will you share the innovation partnership manual with other BSO, and how? Perhaps some of the other BSOs have views on what is needed?
When we share the menu, so I think I need to discuss with Joseph that we would like to share publish the menu shortly, like probably this month or next. But yes. we let's say we're ready to publish this menu.
Yeah, we are already in the final phase there. There were some intensive discussion about, in fact, the phases. In fact, it's not that clear, as Samira was saying, when it comes to the phases. In the PCP, you have these 3 phases of development, or sometimes 2. But with the innovation partnership, it's a little bit different. So we had to finalize this discussion, and I think once this is finalized, let's say within a couple of maybe 2 weeks, and that get reviewed by consortium partners, then we will be able to share it on our website in the documents. And then, of course, I mean, once the other BSOs have, let's say, some issues they would like to share with us, we are happy to discuss that.
Yeah, we would like to issue the menu, which can also apply to under different structure of the big science organization. So we try to make it in a feasible way to present different cases in the menu.
Yes, thank you. If there are no other questions, a couple of last slides from our side. Today we have a webinar on innovation partnership, but there are more to come. I would like to really welcome and invite you all to on-site training which will be on 30th of June in Bratislava. It will be in hybrid mode, so you can join also online, but I really suggest if you have a capacity to travel to Bratislava for this on-site training. We will focus more on procedures. So we will discuss in details, and we will have some practical exercises on pre-commercial procurement, but also innovation partnership. And then after the summer, we will continue with the stream of our webinars. We will have a webinar on competitive dialogue, then competitive procedure with negotiation, and in November, management of intellectual property rights. So that's what's coming for us. Here is what we will do in on-site training in Bratislava. So on Monday, 29th of June, we will be having a short recap session on this innovation procurement journey, going through all the steps for innovation procurement. And then second day, we will have a full day working on these practical aspects of innovation procurement procedures. So really, the participants can then clearly understand all the important phases for each procedures, and then we will have also very practical exercises to prepare then the participants for the future consideration if they would like to start the pre-commercial procurement or innovation partnership. One more thing, please share your feedback with us. It's really easy. It will not take you more than 1 or 2 minutes. How you can do that? Here's the QR code. So you take your phone, preferably now, because we still have a time. You scan the QR code, and there is a Google form in which you will share with us the feedback on the webinar. We are trying to implement all your suggestions. We are collecting the suggestions how to improve, and this will be implemented also in our next webinars or on-site training. So yes, please, this is very important for us. One more thing, before we end up, we will be also present on BSBF 2026 in Maastricht. I think we will have a presence there. So if you are planning also to be there, you can visit our stand, and we will discuss these innovation procurement opportunities in the future. Also, possible financing possibilities, because Antonio suggested it or mentioned it today, that in fact in Horizon Europe for research and infrastructure program, there are some fundings for these innovation procurement possibilities. So we can discuss this in more details when we meet there, or if you come to Bratislava for on-site training, we can discuss it also there. So from my side, this is all. I would like to really thank to all participants, but mostly, of course, our speakers today, Samira, Philip, and Peggy. Thank you very much for this insightful webinar. I'm really glad that we organized it, because as Samira said, there are not that many, if there are any webinars or trainings on innovation partnering. So it's very good that we have, through the INPROCAP, this way how we can discuss these questions, compare the PCP innovation partnership and what is good for which cases. So thank you very much. Thank you also for our consortium partners, and thank you today for Lucia for organizing the webinar.
Yeah, thank you very much to all for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Thank
have
you.
a nice rest of the day.